What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the KLX today. If everything goes as planned, this video should be going up the day after the last video, and the last video was the seat concepts video. But today's video is going to be about dialing in the KLX, and I'm actually looking for some of your guys' opinions on some of the things I need to dial in here. So today we're going to be going through some tests kinda, and I really want to try and dial in the EJK and the suspension, and I'll talk to you guys about that as we get into the video. Alright, so here we go. So the EJK, I have the stock settings, or the base settings, for the Stage 1 modifications with the KDX Snorkel. So that basically means that I'm at setting 4, I believe, for green, and then 1 for red and yellow. And then for the other transition zones, I believe it goes 2, 3, 2. You can see these settings on the EJK website, but I'll put them up for you guys. But basically what I'm here to talk to you guys about is I think that there's a little bit of room for improvement with the fueling. That's what I'm going to be testing today. Going to be doing some wide open pulls and going from cruising to full throttle, and then those are the main things, because I feel like there's a little bit of power to be had when I'm in, say, first or second gear and snapping the throttle on. Just something to experiment with, because I feel that the KLX has a little bit more capability for power. And I've heard of people on the forums actually saying that they could power wheelie. The KLX, with some of the mods they have, they basically had the same mods as me, except they had the lid removed, except they only had a slip-on and I have a slip-on and a header. So we should be making about the same power. He's saying that he can wheelie, power wheelie, first and second, shifting into second. And I don't expect to be able to do that, but I think I should be able to get close to doing that. And that makes me think that there's a little bit of room for improvement in the fueling, like I stated. So I think I'm going to try going up half a light in the red setting, and then whichever one is from cruising to acceleration, or acceleration to wide open throttle, I think I'm going to add a little bit more fuel there. Because at some of the lower spots in the RPM range, say at like 4,000 and 3,000, it kind of bogs a bit. So if you guys have experience with the EJK, go ahead and let me know what I should try to change to improve that. Basically, I want a little bit more oomph, you can say. When I snap on the throttle, that's the main thing I'm looking for. And then also my 0 to 60 runs, it kind of putters out a bit. I know the KLX is known for mid-range, but I think looking at some of the runs that there's room for some more fuel up top, but I'll have to review my footage. But that's where I'm asking for your guys' opinion. Basically, if you guys want to review some of the acceleration runs, because I think up top that the KLX could use a little bit more fuel. That's what I personally think. But if not, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. The other thing that I want to dial in on the KLX is the suspension. So I'm kind of a bigger guy at 205 pounds, and right now I have not touched the suspension, and so I think that I want to dial in a little bit of preload in the rear shock. Because the bike sags a bit when I get on, and I know of course it's going to sag when I get on, but I think it sags a little too much. And I'm going to film some video today from the outside that's going to show when I get on the throttle, you can see the suspension kind of load up in the rear, and I think I would benefit a little bit if I had a little bit more preload in the rear, and that way, instead of the suspension kind of taking the torque and absorbing it, maybe it'll transfer a little bit more of that torque to the ground. But yeah, regardless, I definitely dive when I get on the front brakes, which I'll show you guys right here. So as you can see right there, I dive down a bit. Aww. And so basically I want to do a little bit of compression in the front. So I got to adjust the forks here, dial them in a couple clicks, and then in the rear I plan on adding a little bit of preload and see how that works out. It might help me out with the wheelies a bit, because like I said, with that stiffer suspension, it might not absorb the torque as much, and it might transfer it to the ground more. So I'll kind of show you guys that right now. I'm going to set up the camera, and then I'm going to ride by it so you guys can see. Alright guys, so you can see here when I get on the bike how much the suspension kind of loads. Let me know if you think it's sagging too much, or if it's just right, or not enough. So there's another thing I'm looking for you guys' opinion on. So go ahead and let me know down in the comments. All these things are kind of ideas that I think could be improved on the KLX, that I can kind of dial it in a bit. But if not, go ahead and let me know. So now I'm going to ride by, and I'm kind of going to blip the throttle in first so you can see. I'm not going to be using the clutch, I'm just going to be giving it some gas so you guys can see if that torque really is being soaked up by the suspension, or if it's being put to the ground. Alright, here we go. So as you can see right now, it kind of feels like the suspension is soaking it up. I'll do another run by so you guys can see. And I'll do one more just for good measure. So yeah, it's definitely kind of picking the front wheel up in first here. So you guys can kind of see there, if I do have room for a little bit more tuning or dialing in the KLX, I really think that the KLX could kind of power wheelie in first and maybe second if I get the dialing in to be perfect. This is all just speculation, but like I said, I would really appreciate your guys' opinions in the comments as to if you think there is room for improvement, because I think the KLX does have room for improvement, and if it does, that would be really cool, because like I said, I've heard of people being able to power wheelie in first and second, and some of it's technique, but how cool would that be if the KLX could actually do that? Just imagine how easy the clutch ups would be if that would work. So right there, when I was trying to bounce the wheel up in second, I don't know if I was too low on the RPM or what, but that's kind of the bog I'm talking about. So maybe I could work that out with the tuning. I don't know. I don't know too much about it, but I think if I added some preload plus the mod I'm going to be doing hopefully Monday or Tuesday, and then if I get the fueling dialed in perfectly, I think KLX could turn into more of a wheelie machine. See, I'm kind of getting the power wheelies in first. That's actually kind of cool. I had never tried that, I don't think, with the new mods. Whoa. Imagine if I could do that in second. That would be sick. I'm not exactly sure what could get that done in second, but if I could, that would be cool. Alright, so now, to get some more data for you guys, I'm going to try and do some wide open stuff. I'm going to try and do some wide open throttle stuff from, say, like 3,000 to 9,000, and see if we all can't figure out if there's some more room for improvement in the fueling. Alright guys, 3,500, go! That actually seemed pretty good. So maybe that really is dialed in there at full throttle. That was second gear at about 3,000 RPM. I'll do another run here to see if there is any room for improvement. I don't think there is, but so yeah, in terms of improving the second gear punch to get close to lifting the front wheel up with only the throttle, I think I still have the stock air filter, so maybe there's room for improvement there. The fueling, not sure about that. I'm gonna kind of ask you guys for help on that. The next mod I am doing should definitely help out a lot. Then other than that, I think the only thing that might be able to help would be some cams. I'll have to review the footage here when I go back and edit to see if I'm actually loading up the suspension when I was kind of doing that first gear power wheelie stuff or what. think we did enough with the kind of on and off throttle, that tuning zone of the EJK. Acceleration, I think all we have left to do is acceleration and wide open throttle, because we did enough of the kind of getting on and off. So yeah, as you guys can see, it can power wheelie in first gear actually. That's with 2 throttle blips. I don't know if it could do it with just 1. So that's kind of cool. I'm gonna have to practice that once I get better at wheelies to be able to get back to balance point in first gear by just lifting it up. But yeah, like I said, it'd be really awesome if I could do that in second gear. So I think that's enough with that. Now I'm going to do some acceleration wide open stuff. So let's go ahead and try that now. 3000, go. So if anything, I think the wide open throttle acceleration, I think that's pretty dialed in. If anything, maybe I could try half a light or 1 light. So I'm gonna have to look at the zones again, but if that's dialed in, the only other things that could be not dialed in would be going from cruising to acceleration or acceleration to wide open throttle. I think those are the other 2 zones. But as you can see, there's a little bit of kind of bog there at that point. I'll see if I can recreate that again. If I could improve that a bit, I think we would be good. Alright, right here, this spot right here. That could be because I'm in too low of a gear. I actually think that the KLX can technically power wheelie in second gear if I can get that bouncing technique down. It'd be cool if I didn't have to stand up that much to do it, because that's kind of some effort. See right here, kind of seems like it takes a while to climb there. But now it doesn't. That was about 6,000. So I guess one of my ideas here would be to get that SAFR tool from Dobeck, the company who makes the EJK. So that way I can kind of do my own testing with air to fuel ratios, see if I'm at where I need to be. Instead of going to dyno shop, my dealer, where they don't want to mess with the EJK, and they also want to charge like $100 per hour, and I can get that SFA or SAFR tool for about $60 for 2 weeks. I think that would be a good solution to get this dialed in. Because once I do get this dialed in, I want to see how much room there is for cams and how much fuel I can add. Because if there's enough, I would like to be able to do cams. Because I've heard mixed reviews about the big bore, the 331, whether or not that it'll work with the fuel injection applications. And I know the 351 won't work. That's the main consensus that I've heard so far. Alright guys, I think that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for sticking around and trying to help me out here. Like I said, I think there might be some room for improvement on fueling for the EJK. Maybe not so much acceleration and the wide open throttle, but maybe down low there might be. I guess the only way to tell would be able to see the air to fuel ratio, and then maybe from some of the transitions between cruising and accelerating, or cruising and wide open throttle, there might be some improvement there. And then the other thing from the video I shot at the mall with just the camera on the ground, I think there's some room for preload adjustment, and I think definitely maybe a click of compression in the front or the forks so that it won't dive as much. But the preload, I think that it sags a little too much, so if I can dial in some preload, that would be good. That would help stiffen the suspension up a bit to help put that torque down for some wheelies and whatnot. But like you guys, I will be reviewing the video myself to see if the suspension actually is sagging when I'm doing some of that wheelie stuff, or if it is not. But yeah, let me know down in the comments with all of these things. I appreciate your guys' input. I think it would be really cool if the KLX could kind of power wheelie in second, of course with a little bounce. I don't think it's just going to lift the wheel up by just giving it a bunch of gas, or even 2 blips of throttle like you can in first gear. But if you can get close to doing that, then it should be able to do it with a little bit of bounce. And once I get that technique down, I should be able to do that, and the KLX will be a wheelie monster. So again, thank you guys for all of your comments, opinions, suggestions, all of that. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also share this video to those who may enjoy it, or I guess in this case, those who may have some input. And if you are not subscribed already, be sure to do so. We are almost at 200 subscribers, so that's a big milestone there. So with all that being said, join the club, and I'll see you in the next one.